Hello everyone, myself Diksha from Biotechnica, and today I'm here to talk about how to handle rejection from research journals. So basically, have you been in a situation where you attempted to write your research, to give your research paper or review article to the journal that was specified to you, and your research article or your research paper got rejected? So I'm here to help you, giving you some tips and tricks how to get your paper accepted by the research journal. So first we shall discuss about what is rejection. What does rejection actually means? So basically rejection is something that means that you tried doing your work, you tried doing your achieving your target, you tried something, but it doesn't work in a point of time. So basically something that doesn't work in a specific point of time is termed as rejection. It doesn't mean that you failed in something, you failed in achieving the target you wanted and you are incapable of doing it. Simply, it was just the time, it was just the matter of time where you got rejected, and basically it's temporary, it's never permanent. So rejection is a sense of temporariness and it is never permanent. So if you are thinking rejection is permanent and once you have been rejected, it means you are incapable, then it is something which is completely wrong. So basically, now I am giving you some tips and tricks how to restart. How to restart if you have found a rejection, if you have got a rejection from one of the reputed research journal where you tried your paper to get accepted. So the first point is read and learn from the reviewers. So what exactly does this mean? So when you write mail, when you write mail to the specific research journal, or you write that you want, this is your paper and you these are the clarifications about the paper and your paper got rejected. So basically they will give you some comments about the paper, why it got rejected. So basically you have to analyze those comments. Analyzing those comments are really necessary because they are a committee of reviewer who is peerly reviewing your article, your research paper. So basically they are giving you an idea how to improve yourself, how to improve the paper that you wanted to get published. So if you got the idea, if you got the comments, it is really helpful for you because you have to implement those comments and you have to step forward. So in that situation, you have to revise. What does this revision means? So revision means that you have to make appropriate corrections from the comments that you have been given. So the comments that are really being given to you, it is really helpful for you to make corrections, make certain corrections from those comments and come out with an idea, come out with an improvement that will help you in getting your research paper accepted. The third point is appeal for the rejection. So sometimes what it happens is in a similar situation when you are communicating with a person, sometimes people misunderstand. So in that situation, when somebody misunderstood you, you are trying to speak again, you are trying to make that person understand about your mindset, about what you intend to speak about. So in that situation, a similar thing happens when you apply for, any submission for a research proposal in a research journal or research paper. So in that situation, you should have a logical explanation. So you shouldn't go emotional explanation shouldn't be there. You should be logical towards your perspective, why the paper should be accepted and why the reviewers didn't take it in a right way. So you should have a logical explanation for it. So basically it's because of the misunderstanding. So sometimes what you have written can't be understood by the reviewer. So in that situation you should make them understand by writing a note that why this paper means a lot to you and why it got rejected in the comments which are actually been given is something that you have mentioned but they are unable to perceive it. So in that situation you should clear the misunderstanding, and you should perceive the errors that has been pointed. So if you can do it in a logical way, it would be helpful, but don't try to overpower them, don't try to surpass them, don't try to be argumentative. In the case you are trying to give an argument in that situation, it will give a false image of yourself to them. They will feel that you are not good in research, that's why you are just trying to defend your work. So in that situation, just don't try to be argumentative, just stop yourself, don't proceed forward, make an explanation and respect their decision. The fourth thing is reconsider the journal. So reconsidering journal is something important. Why I'm telling this is because sometimes there are certain journals that won't accept those research papers that they find not capable enough to be published, because their acceptance rate is really low. The amount of paper that they accept is really low compared to certain other research journals. So making a right choice of a research journal is really important. Sometimes what people do, they try to hand it over to some research journal that are entirely different from their domain of interest, domain of subject. So the subject and the domain in which they have made their research work, they are trying to publish it some another research journal. So ultimately it will be rejected. The second point is, in that situation also, second thing what happens, that the acceptance rate is low and you are trying really hard to get accepted in that research journal. So in that situation also you will face failure. So you should rethink for the choice of your journal. So you should rethink the choice of the journal. It's really important. If you feel your journal is getting rejected in that situation, you should rethink of the other journals, and you should try applying to other journals. The second thing is choose journals with a good acceptance rate. So basically, don't switch to a journal which again has a low acceptance rate. You should choose a journal that is having a good acceptance rate, because having a good acceptance rate will increase your chance of your paper to be selected. The fifth one is resubmit. So what does resubmission mean? So the first thing is, you are making a correction, you are looking upon the comments that has been provided to you, you are trying to solve those queries, you are trying to correct those mistakes, and then you are putting the same corrected version of your research paper to the same journal. So you can submit it to the same journal. But sometimes submitting to the same journal, sometimes it happens that they will say that they will debar you from giving their journals, giving your research work to their journal for the lifetime or for some span of time. In that situation, you should also respect their decision, because if they feel something about you and your paperwork, and you feel that I have done this work, so they should basically respect it. It shouldn't be one-sided; it should be two-sided. So if they are not willing to accept your research work, they are not willing to accept the research paper, then you shouldn't step ahead, you should step yourself back, you should make the correction, and you should submit to a different journal. So submitting to a different journal can either be in two ways. Either you can make corrections and submit to a different journal, or you can't make a correction, so you can just submit to a different journal. The correction without, so you shouldn't. So basically the two ways, what I have said, you can make the correction or you cannot make the correction. So making the correction and then providing it to a different journal is the best option, because you are reviewing your paper again, you are reviewing the comments again, you are coming with a better idea, better version of your research paper, and then you are submitting it to a different journal. It will increase your chance of acceptance. It will increase the chance of acceptance of the research paper that you want to submit. So always go for reviewing, making correction, and then submitting to a different journal rather than just submitting to a different journal, because it, in some cases only it works. Sometimes when there is again the misunderstanding, then only you will get your work published, or else most of the cases your work will be discarded. So in that situation, submit to a different journal and clearly and precisely look over the comments that has been provided to you by the previous journal that where your paperwork got rejected. The next one is rethink the publication option. So basically, sometimes what happens when you don't publish it to an open journal, like your institution won't have an open access, or your access for that journal is very limited. In that situation, also the chances of your paperwork, your research paper being rejected is high. So you should, always go for an open access research journal, so that easily, or you can have a better access to that research journal. In that situation, the chance of your paper being accepted would be high. So publication option is also really necessary. So you should, have and consult with your institution how their publication strategy works, and how they manage their access to the different research journals. So knowing this, making a note of it, and then trying to apply to a different research journal is really effective. The next one is hold your manuscript. So what does it mean? So basically, sometimes when you are really demotivated because your paperwork didn't get published, it was rejected, in that situation you are demotivated and you will feel that you should discard your work. In that situation, you shouldn't feel to discard, because your paper is really important. Not for everyone, at least for you, because you have put a lot of effort in preparing the paper. You have put a lot of effort in designing those experiments, troubleshooting them, coming up with an idea, with a result, and then giving a conclusion. So basically, each and every point of your research work is really necessary, especially during this time when anything can be pirated, anything can be stolen from your work. So basically, even one line of your research work will aid someone else who is doing the same research work. So they will get the puzzle done and they will publish the paper. So you are aiding someone else to get the result by getting the idea from your research paper. So basically, you shouldn't do that. Your research work, even if it got rejected, it's really important for you. It really has some clue for a better research, for a better result in future regarding some of the great experiments, some of the great conclusions, some of the great invention. So it's really important. So you shouldn't discard it. Either you can hold it, you can improve it, and you can come up with an idea, or you can simply share it to an open access journal where there would be a higher acceptance, and that can be shared to the public, so that they can access your research work, they can cite it, and they can refer it for their own research publication. So it is really important. So your work shouldn't go in vain. You should have a clear limitation of your work, and you should design yourself and your work to portray it to the world, so that they should also know what work and what effort do you made to learn the topic and to implement those research work in the field of science. So they should know your contribution in the field of science. So you should never discard your research work. This is the worst idea one can do. So you should never discard your research work, and you should always contribute towards something. You should always appreciate yourself for your contribution for the research that you have done. So you should not underestimate yourself. So avoiding journal rejection. So there were certain points that I talked. So avoiding journal rejection, it seemed very easy from the points, but it's really it requires a lot of hard work. It requires a lot of effort to go stand and make yourself better version, so that you can step forward and you can get your paper accepted. So in that situation, you should be patient. So you should hold patience, because holding patience is very important, especially when you are dealing with a failure. So holding your patience, becoming persistent, because persistency will lead you to a better side, because you are sticking to your values, you are sticking to your work, you are not letting the storms around you shuffle your mindset just because you faced a rejection. So you should build your patience, you should be persistent, and you should put effort, because without any effort, if you are trying you are trying your paper to get accepted, it will never be accepted. So you should put effort, you should build patience, and you should become persistent. If three things you are building in yourself, then your paper won't get rejected by any research journal. Maybe initially you will face the rejection, but slowly when you will be in the league, you will realize that your paper are really getting accepted, and you are improving yourself, so that you are getting more approachable, you are being more approached for the paper that you have, for the research work you have done, and for the research journal that you want to apply. So you should be really enthusiastic about your work, you should believe in yourself, and you should always make effort, always improve yourself, build patience, and you should be persistent. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have liked this video.